Cam Neely has spoken out on the current status of the Boston Bruins and has spoken out about what the plan may be for the future of this team. We're going to be talking about all of this and another quote from Charlie Jacobs of what he had to say about this management here in this video. Before we get into it, though, we noticed that just over 70% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. We're on the road to 6K, and if we had hit that before the trade deadline, that would be absolutely incredible. Your guys' support has been insane lately, and I do appreciate every single one of you guys watching these videos every day. But without any further ado, let's get into our first quote here. Now, I do have some summarized ones from Cam Neely here from Connor Ryan, so I will have those here first. Then I'll go into the full quotes from Cam Neely, and then we'll hit on Charlie Jacobs stuff afterwards. But Connor Ryan kind of summarized all of this to make it easier for us reading these. Says Cam Neely says we're not happy with what we've been, where we've been this year, and that's for sure. Goes on also to say we're aware of the expectations here. We're trying to meet and exceed those every year. Right now, it's a year that we're not really accustomed to. And finally, some words from Cam Neely about this season. We've not heard anything from him since, I believe the contract of Jeremy Swayman. I believe that was the last time we actually heard Cam Neely speak out about anything regarding the Bruins' status this season. And it is a fresh taste. Obviously Cam Neely didn't really give much insight just yet on these. So I will get into something in a moment here. But the first two quotes, kind of the first little bit here, really just going over that the season has not been one they've been wanting to see. They've been really underwhelming this season, and that's kind of just copy and pasted from every Bruins management that we've been seeing. Everybody that has spoken out about this really saying the exact same thing. But we know Cam Neely is not really afraid to say and put his mind out there about really any topic regarding the Boston Bruins, and this is where it gets a bit interesting. Cam Neely, we do have to prepare for two paths this season. He says we currently do not, Neely says he doesn't currently have an appetite for a retool, but they'll need to be realistic if things go south. We're focused on trying to get our team to be in a better place. Now, this is a very summarized one. I will get into the full one in just a few moments here. But looking at Cam Neely saying this, he says not an appetite for a retool. This is something that we've kind of really settled with at this point. We know that the Bruins are not really a rebuild team. And that's the point where here Cam Neely says, no, he doesn't specifically say rebuild, a retool is what they were thinking. Although that's what, the last few seasons were already supposed to be. Which at this point kind of goes back on what a retool actually is being considered as. And we know, so we've seen some retools in the NHL. We've seen some rebuilds in the NHL. Not specifically from the Bruins, but we've had a wide array of being able to see who does it good, who does it bad, who does a retool, who does a rebuild, and how they will work out. And the Bruins going for a retool of a retool doesn't exactly seem to meet that mark. But the fact that he's saying we're trying to focus on getting to a better place, there's two paths, and that's the big part of as well of what he's trying to put out there. We have the win path, and we have the retool path. It doesn't seem like there's very many other ones that the Bruins and the management of the Bruins are focusing on. Cam Neely saying this we haven't heard from Don Sweeney about any of this or commenting or circling back on any of these comments, but the two paths that this team has to take are going to be very evident over the next few games as we head towards the trade deadline, because we don't want to wait until the end of the season, trade nobody, and then end up being out of the playoffs, missing out in the playoffs, and just really screwing ourselves over. So Cam Neely has two paths put into this place. But let's get into our first full quote from Cam Neely. He says, we've got to look at two paths. On that, we're buying, and one that we may just be retooling a little bit. We feel like we have a playoff team here, and we certainly don't want to jeopardize getting out of the playoffs because we've made so many moves, but that may be good for the future, but not good for the present. Now, I don't exactly know what moves were made good for the future and not the present. You've signed Nikita Zadorov, you've signed Elias Lindholm, two of those guys, not the youngest that could have possibly signed. And there was no other moves made to help out the future. We have, of course, Fabian Lysell, Matt Poitras, those guys, but those were not moves made recently. Those were, well, I guess you could say the past few years, but I'm thinking with Cam Neely saying this, the past year or so. And I really don't know what kind of lineup or what kind of team he thinks the Boston Bruins currently are right now. Because if you tell me who on this helps the future apart from the third-line center, and I would argue the entire fourth line, that's a good question. Of course, David Pastrnak as well. He's going to help with the future. He's not the youngest, but he's getting up there in age. Still not old. But looking at this lineup, I don't know where he can say this is a playoff team. I really don't know. And of course, there's injuries. We have to take that into consideration. Vinny Lettieri normally probably wouldn't be on this roster. Well, if he starts playing well, you never know, but there are many other names that could be on here, many other names that should be on here that aren't. And the way that this is not a playoff team really boggles my mind, the way that Cam Neely is saying it is. And I want to circle back on that quote just one more time here. Just going over, it says we feel we have a playoff team here. And I don't know about that, Cameron. I really don't know, because with what the moves they've made, the moves that they've tried to do this offseason, really only signing Elias Lindholm, Nikita Zadorov, I don't see where this helps out the future and creates us a playoff team. But the factor, looking at buying, looking at retooling, both options are on the table for Cam Neely. Is definitely an interesting one, looking at the next, few weeks as we head into some pretty big games, as well as into the trade deadline. Now, we do have one more quote here from Cam Neely. Another full one here. He says, we feel like we've given our team a chance to win every year, and it just hasn't materialized. So that's frustrating for us. We know it's frustrating for the fan base. Our fans certainly deserve championships. They come out, they support like no others. We're aware of the expectations here, and we try to meet and exceed those every year. Right now, it's a year that we're not really accustomed to. And kind of contradictory statement to what he had just said, that this is a playoff team, but we'll bypass that for a moment and kind of discuss on this as well further. Cam Neely, this is the right quote to say. This is the right one that we need to put out. The fan base deserves championships. We support this team every day, and you've known my reactions of post games. Wearing the jersey, wearing the sweater, wearing the hat, whatever it may be that has a Boston Bruins logo on it, makes me feel sad when this team comes out here, loses 6-0, gets 70 shots against. These are a bit of an exaggeration, but we've been pretty close on those multiple times. But the way that Cam Neely kind of contradicts himself in that statement compared to the first one is a very interesting piece of what the future holds for the Boston Bruins. So let me know what you think about Cam Neely's statement here. What do you think about the fact that he's saying this is a playoff team? I'm very curious to see what you guys say about this, because I know our reactions to Cam Neely here and what we really think about this management right now. But, anything can change. But Charlie Jacobs, as I mentioned earlier, also came out with a statement in this little, press conference-ish, type thing, whatever it was yesterday. This is what Charlie Jacobs had to say on Don Sweeney and Cam Neely. He says, I have faith that they will make the right decisions. I don't have the playbook for that. I have faith that they will make those decisions. Now, this has very big implications as well for what we're going to be seeing in the offseason compared to where we were or initially thought we were going to see, or what we were going to see. I've been kind of saying in every intro, we're looking at Don Sweeney's, role with this team right now. Is he going to be fired? Is he going to stick with this team? What's going on? Is he going to get fired? What's happening? We know this team right now is not finding the success. This team is not built for the playoffs this year, even though the management seems to think that they made the right moves to make this a playoff team. Charlie Jacobs almost has the same thought process. He says, I have faith that they make the right decisions, and none of the fans do. We know that we've seen enough from Cam Neely, Don Sweeney. What they've been doing has not been helping this team whatsoever. So this is a very interesting thing that Charlie Jacobs came out on. This is the only quote that Connor Ryan has for this. I didn't get to watch this press conference or whatever it was, but I hope we do see more. Connor Ryan's Twitter may have it. Check it out if I am wrong. You can go have a look at that and see if there's any more. But some very interesting quotes came out of this press conference, and I really don't know what to think from the fan standpoint anymore. We've been waiting for this team to kind of make some moves. They only brought up Matt Poitras last game. We saw how that turned out. This team played well. Initially, an assist right away. Came out of the gates firing. He was incredible in the AHL. And now only seeming to make the right moves about 30 games too late. So let me know what you think about these quotes here. Charlie Jacobs as well as Don Sweeney. Some very interesting ones that are going to stir up a lot of controversy, I will say, here in the Bruins community. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. Remember, all your Boston Bruins news is going to be right here. I'm going to have it as soon as it comes out. I will be traveling over the next few days, so I may have a few pre-recorded videos, but still will be pumping out some news videos if anything major breaks down, of course. Going to scout the opponents in Montreal, so let me know what you think about some upcoming matchups as well. But that's all I got. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.